Personal Storehouse Project is to help all of those who have shelves filled find a way to contribute to those who need their shelves stocked in a way that will help them to become more independent, more self-reliant, more realized as a human being, able to fulfill the potential that God has given them.
Having church service missionaries who serve people in the ward or branch, but don't hold any callings in that ward or branch, and are truly 100% focused on helping families, helping couples, individuals make those adjustments in the practices of daily living that will bless them both spiritually and temporally is a real godsend for the local leaders.
What can we do to move them one step at a time towards gaining the resources and the abilities and skills they need to be more self-sufficient, to be more independent, and to be able to turn and serve and help others?
I think that the biggest problem is that many of these individuals lack the basic resources or even the knowledge of how to obtain the resources.
When we think through the problems that we're having to deal with, there's two things that flash across my mind. One is hope in themselves. Can they actually achieve their dream? And then what you find when you work with folks who have been generations at the lower rung of the economic ladder is they're so focused on their day-to-day survival that often that will get in the way of doing those things that have long-term benefits.
Hope is the key, and that hope gives rise to the ability then to act, and the expectation that we will have divine assistance and guidance. And it's impossible not to see the Lord's hand in so many of the things that go on here. Our church service missionaries are a couple. Some of them are still working full-time. Some of them are not. They're at different points in their lives, but they generally have a lot of church experience. They're well used to working with people. They understand the principles of welfare and the principles of the gospel. And they obviously are very committed to the idea that we need to be our brother's keeper.
They become shepherds for a person or a family. They get to know the family, they love the family, they see their individual needs, they counsel with the family, they take them places, they direct them where they can go.
They actually commute from another congregation to be part of ours. They physically help each member who's part of the Personal Storehouse Project to move their lives forward, and they provide anything from rides to computer training on computers.
Financial management, education, transportation, landing of jobs, job skills, employability, all of those things.
Whatever is needed for those individual members that are part of that project.
We would take seasoned, mature, experienced individuals and ask them to make their time and their experience and their abilities available to these couples or families in Detroit. When I look at the church service missionaries serving in the Detroit Personal Storehouse Project, I think of take your very best Relief Society president, take your very best Elders Quorum president, and give them as their sole assignment doing pure ministering work.
The bishop plays a key role in this. As the key holder in his individual unit, he gets to identify through revelation, by exercising priesthood keys, those members that have need.
We met with the bishop, of course, and he is the one who asked us to accept this calling.
Our bishop basically is our lead, so we receive our assignments from the bishop. He tells us which families that he wants us to work with that have the most needs, or he feels that can make progress in certain areas. We try to meet with him at least once or twice a month to talk about how we're doing and issues or whatever come up, and we try to share with him the things that are going on or things we need help with for that family.
We went to the Inner City Project in Salt Lake City, and we received some training from them, understanding poverty and understanding the roots of poverty, and getting some training in in a theory of success called Bridges Out of Poverty, which gave us some ideas about how to understand and approach and communicate with people who have a background of poverty. And so this really strengthened our capacity to mentor and our hope in the mentoring efforts compared to what we had done before.
As we keep having the training on how to be a mentor, we're just really learning what it really means to love and accept another person.
The training has been quite extensive, and I would imagine that it's going to be even more extensive as we go forward.
We have training schedules that are intended to help the mentors know how to talk to somebody who doesn't understand a middle-class language.
We generally meet as a group with the five of us, the five couples. We generally meet once a month.
We first start with a foundation of friendship, of love.
Highly dependent upon forming real friendships.
We've met in a couple of the homes and just really been getting very acquainted with them, developing a relationship that we can move on to help them understand things better once that bond of friendship and love and has been created. Then of course you can move on with greater things.
The first step is to find out what they perceive as being their biggest immediate problem that they want to solve. Sometimes that's finding a job. And what's their vision for a better future? What's their goal? What's their vision of what would life be like if all these problems were solved, and what would you like to be doing?
Intellectual, if you will, and spiritual support in helping them realize the goals that they have, but they do it giving them enough space to recognize that the responsibility does fall on the individual themselves.
Then start keeping them thinking of long-range goals, long-range development of the resources and the skills and a plan. If you have a vision and you have the resources to get there, but you don't have a specific plan for getting there, you could be a long time getting there. Without a plan, you'll just kind of wander around hoping that it happens someday.
When you serve, no matter where you are, as you're serving people, you grow to love them. And it's an experience you just don't want to end. And in the process, there's a relationship that develops, a friendship and a support system, and it helps you to understand why you're here and where we're going, and that we're all children of our Heavenly Father, and we all need to take turns helping each other return home to Him. I think it's a very successful way to teach people, families, is to have that mentoring, that coaching, that personal trainer or support system with you to help you along the way. So if you start to slide, they're right there with you, and it will help affect change in your life.
All of them have come back, and without really any exception, have had a very spiritual and just a very moving experience.
They begin to serve in this new community of believers, and they begin to see how what they have can be shared with others, and they come surprisingly to understand that there are gifts for them there as well, right? There are hope and experiences and faith and testimony and knowledge and insights that come to them by virtue of their service there that they didn't anticipate and didn't expect, and they enrich their lives.
These couples, they ask to be extended, or if they are released, that's okay. I'll go do something else you call me to do, but I'm not giving up on my friends. And they stay in contact. And these become lifelong, eternal relationships.
It's very rewarding to do this kind of work when you do it, because you see other people's lives changing and benefiting.
It's a delightful program. We jumped on signing up for another year.
We don't want to be released because we have grown and we love the families that we are supporting.
My dad would usually tell me. Sam and Kathy Ulley are, in so many ways, like our angels. Me and Rachel, we view them as our godparents. We've adopted them as our godparents, so to say. They influenced us in so many different ways. They showed us love.
The fact that there are two people in the suburbs, way out in the suburbs, not close either, that actually takes the time to come here to the city to help me and my family is amazing. Because growing up, that didn't happen.
This connection between the giver and the receiver is a very powerful part, I think, of the way the Personal Storehouse Project can advance the Lord's efforts.
To serve here has been a real joy, honestly. Of course, you pray for safety and guidance, but where there's a real need, it is not difficult to come.